You know, it's the dream of every creator, right? To go viral. But what actually happens the day after your audience just explodes? This isn't just another guide about growth. No. Think of this as your survival blueprint for when you actually get exactly what you wished for. 1 million. That's the magic number. 1 million users, 1 million followers. It's the dream, for sure. But here's the thing. It's also the exact moment where every single strategy that got you to this point completely falls apart.
Okay, so you did it. You hit the jackpot, the algorithm gods smiled down on you, and your community just multiplied overnight. But now what? Seriously, how do you possibly manage all that chaos, all that noise, without completely losing the magic that made your community special in the first place? Well, this is what people call the million-user problem. You know all those personal touches, the one-on-one chats, reading every single comment? Yeah, those days are over. Trying to act like you're still running a small town when you're suddenly the mayor of a massive city? It's not just a bad strategy, it's a one-way ticket to burnout.
So what's the solution? It's pretty wild, actually. You have to change your job title. You're no longer just a content creator. Your new role is ecosystem architect. Basically, you're not the star of the show anymore. You're the person who designs the entire stadium, making sure it can host this amazing, thriving community long after you've left the stage.
So how do you make that transition? And look, this isn't about buying fancy software or hiring a huge team. At least, not yet. The very first, most critical step, it's all in your head. It starts with a huge shift in how you think about everything.
You've got to move from this me mindset, where you're the only entertainer on stage, to a we mindset, where you're more like the facilitator of a whole movement. It's really about letting go of that spotlight to empower everyone else. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do you actually do it? Well, it breaks down into 2 key steps. First, empower your super users. Find those die-hard, passionate members and give them real roles, maybe call them ambassadors or something, to help you guide the culture. And second, you've got to decentralize. Use modern web tools that let the community itself vote on and surface the best content. That way, you stop being the bottleneck and you become the enabler. Big difference.
All right, once you've got the mindset sorted, you need the right setup to support it. So this next part is all about building the infrastructure, the guardrails, that will let you manage this city-sized community without it all descending into total chaos.
Think of this as your emergency blueprint. So, for moderation, look, you can't handle 1 million people by yourself. It's impossible. So you lean on automated filters and set up tiered access levels. Then, for communication, you have to stop doing one-on-one DMs. It just doesn't scale. Instead, you do town hall-style broadcast posts for everyone. And finally, trust. This one is absolutely crucial. You have to get that profile verified to stop imposters and clones from confusing and misleading your community.
Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the infrastructure. Now it's time to talk about what keeps the whole thing running. Let's get into the fuel for this ecosystem, content and monetization. When you're at this scale, your audience is just massive and diverse. So how do you keep everyone happy? The source material suggests a really powerful strategy, the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your stuff, that needs to have broad appeal. That's for the masses. But that other 20%, that's for your core, your day one fans. That's the super personal, niche content. This is how you feed the algorithm, but also keep the soul of your community intact.
So how do you fund all this without plastering intrusive ads everywhere? Well, there are some really cool, modern ways to do it. You could use tokenization to give your community a real, actual stake in the network's success. Or you can offer premium tiers with little perks like special supporter badges. Or, and this is my favorite, create a value exchange system that actually rewards users for their awesome contributions. It creates this amazing self-sustaining financial loop.
So, we've talked mindset, infrastructure, and fuel. But you know what? None of that matters if the architect, that's you, burns out. This final section is honestly probably the most important of all. It's about how you protect yourself so you can lead this thing for the long haul.
First things first, and this is totally non-negotiable. You have to set boundaries. Your community has to understand that you're a human being. The source suggests setting up active hours so people know when you're around and, more importantly, when you're not. They can't expect a reply at 3 in the morning. Second, you've got to filter the noise. And I mean it. Stop trying to read every single comment. It is an impossible task, and it will just completely drain you. Instead, you need to rely on your analytics. And hey, get feedback from those trusted ambassadors you empowered earlier. That's what they're there for.
And last but not least, automate. Automate everything you possibly can. We're talking scheduled posts, autoresponders for frequently asked questions, anything that buys you back some time and mental space to think strategically instead of just constantly putting out fires.
And all of this really leads us to the single most powerful idea in this whole explainer. The ultimate goal, the true sign of success, is this. If you empower your users to lead, your community will thrive even when you are offline. See, your success isn't measured by how much you're there anymore. It's measured by the strength of the system you built.
So, there you have it. The strategies are all here. The entire path from being a creator to becoming an architect is laid out for you. Really, the only question left is, are you ready to be an architect?